How's everybody doing? Hey, peace, Twisted Hickory. How you doing? All right, we're gonna let a few people get in here, then we're gonna get started. What's up, Cass? How you doing, sir? You got another good one for y'all tonight. Did a little digging. That's good. That's good. So we got a good video on Miss Meghan Markle. And is she the queen of multiculturalism? So let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Twisted Hickory. You know, life gets in the way sometimes, but I'm gonna try to hit y'all at least once a week with these live streams, preferably on Mondays, and then I'm gonna try to start squeezing maybe one in on Friday, um, on some more lighthearted stuff, maybe like a covering on what's going on during the week, something similar to that. But when I do these videos, I like to do a lot of research, a lot of deep diving, to bring y'all the best information possible. Let's see. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, then we're gonna get started. All right. Peace, OC. How you doing? Peace. Thoughts, men are supposed to think. What's up, bro? Hey, y'all go check my man Thoughts. Men are supposed to think. That's T Mass on Instagram. He always showing me love. Y'all go check him out on Instagram. Subscribe. He doing some great things for father parental rights. He's always doing great work. He's supporting. I think he adopts one father or one family. I think every week or every month. Y'all go check his IG out. Subscribe. You know what I'm saying? He's certified, official. About a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna get started here. We're gonna, you know what I'm saying, pull back the veil on Miss Meghan Markle to see what her real purpose is. And while we wait, and I just want to say that my channel is not based off of hating anyone, off of any negativity towards anyone, but they put these people in front of us. You always got to ask why. Why are people being put, you know what I'm saying, into the mainstream? What is their purpose? And oftentimes the media likes to use these people for propaganda purposes, and that's what I hope to highlight in this video here. Couple more minutes, then we're gonna get started here. Peace, Carlito away. How you doing? He said Meghan Markle, the Duchess of South Central LA. More like Hollywood, California. She's the Duchess of Hollywood. We're gonna look deep into that. All right, about one more minute. What's up, FMG? How you doing, sir? I'm glad y'all can make it tonight. One more minute, we're gonna get cracking here. All right, so let me go and find the story I was looking for before we get started there. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna get started here, and as we all know, Mr. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle recently had their first baby, named Archie, and in that, the question arose to myself, and saying people are having a conversation with, is this baby black or not? And it's a very polarizing question. You can see here. This is pictures from the wedding. So I always like to start with, is the baby black? I don't know. We had to have that conversation. We're going to get there. But first I want to dig into who exactly is Miss Meghan Markle. Because nobody really answered that question. And so I always like to start off with going to a person's Wikipedia page, as just for starters. All right, so I'm going to start digging in, and then we're going to, if you have some questions, I'm going to come back to you. So Miss Meghan Markle is the Duchess of Sussex. She was born in Hollywood, California. As you can see here, August 4th, 1981. She's 37 years of age. To her father, Mr. Thomas Markle, and to mother, Doria Raglan. And it says here she was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. She has mixed ethnic heritage. And so one of the things that really stands out to me when I start looking into her bio is her background. And as you guys know, I often bring up the subject of people being used for propaganda purposes. And in that case, when I start to look at her profile and her Wikipedia page, some things jump out at me. First of all, she studied at Northwestern University. This is going through, and as you can see here, she is an outspoken feminist, and that's something that we need to keep in mind. For the simple fact is that she is very politically driven. As you see here, it says Miss Markle has addressed issues of gender inequality, and her lifestyle website, The Tig, featured column on profiling influential women. Hold on, let me see. All right, like I said, let me get through this, and I'm gonna come back to the question. I'm not ignoring you guys, but I just want to get these thoughts off right quick. All right, so it says from 2011, 2013. Let's see. The part I want to get to, it says Peace fell an arrow. How do I hide these? All right, so says she has a very close friendship with her mother. Her father, he lives in Mexico. And also her father, okay, here where we start getting into the Hollywood background. Her father is a retired television director, of photography and lighting director, who worked on the set of Married with Children. Now, we're familiar with Married with Children. This was a very influential television show that played a part in the degradation of the family structure just to show you, understand what background she's coming from, and she often would pay visit to that set. But let's just keep that, keep that on the back burner for now. All right, so this is the part I want to get to right here. It says, describing her heritage in the 2015 essay for Elle magazine, she stated, "My dad is Caucasian and my mom is African American. I'm half black and half white. While my mixed heritage may have created a gray area surrounding my self-identification, keeping me with a foot on both sides of the fence, I have come to embrace that. To say who I am, to share where I'm from, to voice my pride in being a strong, confident, mixed race woman. Not a black woman, but a mixed race woman." And these are her own words. All right, so this is where I want to get to. It says, Markle grew up in Hollywood. She was educated at private schools and began at age 2 at the Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse. It says at age 11, she had her successful campaign to Procter & Gamble to change a national television commercial she viewed as sexist. Now this is age 11. How you doing, Lola? First time viewing. Okay. Also, she attended Immaculate Heart High School. That's an all-girl Catholic school. She attended Northwestern University. And why these things are important, let me break it down step by step where I'm going mentally here. Okay, to the trained eye, you can see when you see things like these Catholic high schools. And then she goes to Northwestern University, which has very strong ties to the intelligence intelligence community. The 3-letter organizations for the federal government. She also pledged Kappa Kappa Gamma, and then she had served. And this is something that highlights it piques my interest. She said she also served an internship at the American Embassy in Buenos Aires and studied for a semester in Madrid. All right, so her degree is in. She didn't take up like acting or anything like that. She received her bachelor's from Northwestern School of Communication with a double major in theater and international studies. All right, so now, with all that said, Miss Markle looks like an agent to me. And the reason why I say that is she has Jesuit ties when you look at, her high school, Immaculate Heart High School. She has she attended a university that has strong ties with the intelligence community. And then she served as an internship with the American Embassy, which is often done by people that's being recruited by the intelligence agency. I know you all are saying, "Oh, he's crazy," but we're going to get to my point in a minute. Now let me get back to the comments, but that's what I'm laying out here. I think she's controlled in some kind of way to manipulate the public and also to manipulate her husband. Well, we're going to see that. We're going to get to that point. I'm going to lay it all out to you, just like I did in the last video. All right, so let's go back. All right, let's see. I already said peace to Pharaoh De Niro. I already said, oh yes, feminist equal castrated. Yes. Nova. Okay, yeah, y'all please hit the like button for me. That helps people find the channel. And that shows me that you appreciate the work that I do. Hopefully you do. Yes, Carlita Way. Yes, Al Bundy was always disrespected on that show. Yes, that show was very influential into the degradation of the family structure. It portrayed the father as worthless. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but it's just to show you. They said she spent a lot of time on that show as a child behind the scenes, but that show like I said, it degraded the father. It mixed up the roles of the family structure. It pushed sexual I can't say it. It pushed sexual like themes in the show. I'm a little tongue-tied. Let me get a little water. All right, so Lola said this is her first time visiting. Welcome, Lola. Yeah, she's your queen to be. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Gary Stewart, peace. All right, so I know you think I'm crazy in saying that she's a spy, but I want you to hear this clip right here. All right, let's go back. Let's not get out of order here. Okay. All right, so it says Miss Markle, the actress who changed the world at 11. So we're going to watch this short video here showing how she supposedly, let's go to the website first. Let's go to the article first, where she supposedly changed the world at 11 years old when she addressed this huge multinational let me see here. Continue reading here. And I want y'all to pay attention to something. Okay, so she says, I must have been about 10 years old. Oh, wait. She said, my mom raised me to be a global citizen. No, see, that's that globalism right there. She says, with my eyes open sometimes to harsh realities. Sure, it says Meghan is catching the media attention now that she's dating. This is before they got married, but this is when they were dating. It says, but the 35-year-old has been making herself and her voice known since a kid. She said, my mother raised me to be a global citizen, and with my with eyes open to sometimes harsh reality, she wrote in Tig. She says, I must have been about 10 years old when I visited the slums of Jamaica. She continued, I have never seen poverty at that level, and it registered in my glazed brown eyes. That's why I say everything is a show to this lady. It says, don't be afraid. Don't be scared, Flower. She said, be aware, but don't be afraid. Okay, and then fast forward. She says, I was just 11 years old when I was in my classroom at Hollywood on Little Red School. Peace, Colin. What peace, Colin? Hold on. So it says, I was in my classroom at the Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse, and a commercial came on for a popular dishwashing liquid, Markle explained on her website. The tagline of the campaign said, women all over America fighting greasy pots and pans, excuse me. She said, the boys in my classroom yelled out, yeah, that's where the women belong. In the kitchen. Okay. All right. So the way she made it seem was that she was just sitting in the classroom and the television commercial came on, and it says that women are meant to do dishes, basically. Ad by Dawn, I believe it was. That's a little bit disingenuous, and we're going to see why. All right, now let's go back to the video of this actual event.
My name is Meghan Markle. I'm 12 years old.
Nick News.
I hate my wimpy toilet bowl cleaner.
Commercials, they do say a lot of things that most people don't even notice. Mostly like laundry and dishwashing commercials.
The gloves.
All right, so first of all, she made it seem like she was sitting in a classroom and this commercial just came on. She didn't tell you that this was part of some kind of social or experiment that they were doing with these kids to show them commercials and see how they reacted to it. So first of all, that was disingenuous. Also, too, she's been a child actor since a young age, and that's what this study was about. All right, so let's finish playing the video here.
Are coming off. Women are fighting greasy pots and pans with Ivory Clear.
When I first saw the commercial, I knew something would be done because I was furious.
Women are fighting greasy pots and pans.
And I said, wait a minute, how could somebody say that? I think I'll write a letter. The president of Procter & Gamble Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Dear Sir, last week at my school, we decided to watch the news for social studies. While through the channels, we saw
Alright, so now, if you notice, she just sit here and said that she was sitting in the classroom and this commercial came on. That's very disingenuous, because for the simple fact is they were doing some kind of social studies project, and they showed them this commercial to get a reaction from them. So like I said, her reaccounting history was very, disingenuous. So supposedly she writes a letter to huge Procter & Gamble to get this verbiage in this commercial changed from women doing dishes or moms doing dishes to people. Let's continue with the video.
Commercial for the new Ivory Clear dishwashing liquid. In the commercial, they said women are battling grease, meaning only women do dishes. When I heard this, the boys in my class started saying, yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen.
I really don't think it was very nice for the boys to say it.
They knew it hurt my feelings. It makes me feel like they're gonna grow up thinking that girls are less than them. You know, like boys are better than girls. So I was wondering if you would be...
Wait. Now you see how this 11 or 12-year-old child has been manipulated mentally to push political and social issues. If you go back and look into this, like I said, I'm not picking on a child here, but if you're familiar with what I'm saying, let's go back here and let's just watch it a little bit.
They're fighting greasy pots and pans with Ivory Clear.
When we first saw the commercial, I knew something would be done because I was...
Look at her eyes. Like I said, if you guys are familiar, like I said, and I'm gonna lose a lot of you guys when I say this, but I'm gonna get you up to speed again once we continue on these videos. There's a such thing as monarch mind control children. And I know a lot of you are rolling your eyes and whatever, but this has been a proven government program that had congressional hearings on it, where these three-letter organizations have used children and adults going back, I believe, to the 1940s, I want to say, 50s. There's a great book called The Transformation of America. It's spelled with like the word trans instead of trans. It's trans. And it details all these, these events, if you want to check it out. But let's just continue here and just see. This is a mind, supposedly, of a mind of a 11-year-old.
Furious.
Women are fighting greasy pots and pans.
And I said, wait a minute, how could somebody say that? I think I'll write a letter. The president of Procter & Gamble Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Dear Sir, last week at my school, we decided to watch the news for social studies. While through the channels, we saw a commercial for the new Ivory Clear dishwashing liquid. In the commercial, they said women are battling grease, meaning only women do dishes. When I heard this, the boys in my class started saying, yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen.
I really don't think it was very nice for the boys to say it.
They knew it hurt my feelings. It makes me feel like they're gonna grow up thinking that girls are less than them. You know, like boys are better than girls. So I was wondering if you would be able to change your commercial to people all over America. Thank you, Meghan Markle.
3 months after Meghan wrote to the president of the company, Procter & Gamble changed the commercial. Listen.
The gloves are coming off. People are fighting greasy pots and pans with Ivory Clear.
If you see something that you don't like or offended by on television or any other place, write letters and send them to the right people, and you can really make a difference for not just yourself, but lots of other people.
Alright. So let me go check the comments. Like I said, I think I may have lost some of y'all. Okay. So, okay, let me go through the comments. Okay, JB, you see I'm stumbling. Oh, yeah. My tongue got a little tired. That's cool. Alright, Colorway said she was darker back then too. Pay attention, Star Wars. Right, she was darker. OC said perfect puppet. Yes, and if you know anything about these schools, if you know anything about how Hollywood works, a lot of these momagers use their children for propaganda purposes. And if you know anything about history, you will know that actresses and socialites were used for spying, or intelligence officers, or go-betweens, or even useful idiots. These are all terms that they use in the intelligence community. OC said, yeah, the butterfly symbol. Yeah, I peeped that. All right, so I think all of y'all are saying Moe done lost his mind. All right. Now, you know where I stand. That I believe that she's some kind of agent. And we're going to see here. I'm not the only one that thinks this. And I will say this. Sometimes... No, they didn't. What? Wow. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I got to go find this video. Wait a minute. It was just up here today. Wait 1 second. I got to find this video. Bear with me. They done snatched that video down already. Let's see. Yo, that's crazy. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm gonna find this. Y'all bear with me because this is key, and they trying to shut me down here. Hold 1 second. That's crazy. Hold on. Now I got to do some research on the fly. And the crazy thing is, I go through all my links before I even come on, and this was working just fine. Here we go. Video unavailable. Wow. Wow. Hold on, I'm gonna have to read through the article, y'all, because they done snatched the video down that fast. All right, y'all bear with me because I'm gonna have to read through this. Peace, J Favors. How you doing? All right, it says, with this weekend's royal wedding fast approaching, it was only natural Jimmy Fallon will ask his British Tonight Show guest, Paul Bettany, about the event on Thursday's Tonight Show. And I just saw it today, Colin. That's what's crazy. All right, so it says, but as the comedian soon discovered, there was one small problem. Bettany had no plans to watch the festivals. See, they didn't snatch the article down, though. That's what's crazy. All right, so he went on and he said, I'm sort of bored with the medieval procession that cost about $40 million from taxpayers. He says, and by the way, you got rid of in 1776. He was talking about America separating from the British imperialism. All right, so scroll down. Scroll down. This is what he said, and this is the guy that played in the Avengers series as the robe. What is it? He played one of the characters in the Avengers series, the one that's the robot. But here we go. This is what this guy says. He says, I think, what? They playing with me now. Hold on. He said, I think that Meghan Markle, and he's saying this in jest, but like I said, a lot of truth is said in jest. He said, I think that Meghan Markle might be a sleeper agent for the U.S. government, baiting he joke, his evidence. He says, the dad doing his photo thing is like a false flag event. He said, I think the CIA is involved. Everybody. And then he joked and said, I think Prince Markle's involved. And I'm saying and I wish you could have saw the video because I'm saying the exchange was so classic. But let me catch you up to speed where he's talking about the dad photo thing. All right, so Meghan Markle, dad wanted to walk her down the aisle. And this is where we start to get into the propaganda of her being in the role as princess. And what's the purpose of it? Okay, her father was supposed to walk her down the aisle. But they just lambasted this man in the media so much to cause him health problems. Because him walking her down the aisle was very problematic to the optics that they wanted to use of her being the black princess. Because her being walked down the aisle by a white father is a bad look if you're trying to sell her off as the black princess. And we're going to get into why she needs to be seen as the black princess later on in this video. But as you've seen here, it's crazy that he would say that. And I'm thinking, you're crazy. Oh, Mo, you're reaching. Not so fast. This wouldn't be the first time that they've used a potential mate of a king or a prince. Okay, so now we're about to look at Miss Wallis Simpson. See a video on her, and she was married to the uncle of the current queen, and he had to leave office because he ended up marrying her, and then the queen's current father took over, and that's how you saw the movie The King's Speech. That's what that was about. If you ever seen that movie King's Speech, it's about Queen Elizabeth's father taking over, you're saying, the throne when her uncle abdicated it to marry this woman, Miss Wallis Simpson, who was a they're gonna explain in this video who she was. Let's pay attention.
Bless the royal prince Edward VIII with long and happy years to reign over us. God save the king.
It's one of those stories we thought we knew all about, but maybe didn't. Here's how it used to go. American divorcee Wallis Warfield Simpson, a woman of high ambition and low morals, seduces Edward, Prince of Wales, heir to the British throne, who, in the months between being proclaimed king and being crowned, gives it all up for her. Edward VIII's abdication speech may be the most romantic resignation letter of all time.
I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do, without the help and support of the woman I love.
The greatest love story of the 20th century.
75 years later, history is being rewritten. Sort of.
Now you hear that. History is being rewritten. And that's the problem with history right there. Because they always can go back. Right. A woman of low moral. Right. She was, right. The problem with history is that they can go back and rewrite it anytime they want to with movies or whatever else. People never want to, they don't want to go and read the actual facts. So in this time, all right. So Harry Lewis said, don't you think it's a bit far-fetched? We're going to get there in a minute. Pay attention to how they can use a person such as this, as Miss Wallis Simpson, for political purposes as this video goes along. Let's continue.
First by Madonna in her latest attempt at filmmaking called W.E. for Wallis and Edward. Wallis, what's wrong?
Lunch with your brother and sister-in-law.
They're rather dull, aren't they?
They'll never accept me.
For Madonna, it's one of history's great romances that's never been told properly from Wallis Simpson's point of view.
I wanted to understand what it was about her, what she possessed, what special qualities she had that would make a man give up the most powerful position in the world. I was trying to understand the essence of their relationship. And
all right, so we got the Queen of Kabbalah, Miss Madonna herself, rewriting this woman's history. And she wants to see what, and that's a good question. What powers does this woman have to make this man give up the throne? He gave up the throne for this woman. And we're going to see why later on in this video, why. So, I mean, don't ever put it out of your mind that women have always been used in infiltration, especially on high levels, and information capturing. So when we use the term spy, that people take that term as like the Hollywood meaning of that word. All a spy does is retrieve information and transfer information. That's why they call intelligence officers. But let's go back to this video.
And is there any such thing as the greatest romance?
It's Wallace Simpson as romantic heroine.
Let's stop all this talk about marriage. It frightens me, and I can't see any good coming of it.
Why?
Your family will never stand for it. The Prime Minister won't stand for it.
Then I'll give up the throne.
And I will be the most despised woman in the world.
I just couldn't believe that any one woman could be all the awful things that Wallace was accused of being.
And there's another rewrite of history about that woman in
another rewrite of history. So, I mean, they're just rewriting history as they go. And that's the thing about history. Like I said, you really had to dig in. You had to read multiple sources, and you had to get to the facts, and then you had to come to your own conclusion from all the facts, because everybody has an agenda when they tell stories like this. As you can see in this clip, she had the king following behind in the Madonna May movie. She had the king chasing behind her like a puppy. And she was a strong woman, but let's not, like I said, she in that day, she was a feminist. Let's continue.
This new book by Anne Seba.
Nazi, whore, prostitute, spy, maybe some, not all, wasn't possible.
Did you hear what she just said? Let's rewind that back. She said a lot there. She said Nazi, prostitute, or spy. Maybe some, but not all. So which one was she? And that was the threat that they had with the current king, you know, that she was interested in, that he could be susceptible to Nazi influence, to fascist influence. So you're going to see later on how and why they replaced him using this woman.
Just couldn't believe that any one woman could be all the awful things that Wallace was accused of being.
And there's another rewrite of history about that woman in this new book by Anne Seba.
Nazi, whore, prostitute, spy, maybe some, not all, wasn't possible.
So Anne Seba dug deep into the historical record and beyond. Amazingly, she says she found a packet of letters never seen publicly before, written by Wallace Simpson to, of all people, Ernest Simpson, the estranged husband she was divorcing at the time, to clear the way for her to marry Edward. Letters that revealed a troubled, even tortured woman with an enduring affection for the man she was dumping.
Oh dear. Wasn't life lovely, sweet, and simple?
She writes, and later, when she was already married to Edward,
wherever you are, you can be sure that never a day goes by without some hour's thought of you and for you.
So as we can see in this video, she was still in love with the man that she had left, and it's kind of like her being married to Edward was a job, was an assignment. Also, we want to look at her previous marriage to she was married to a military and intelligence officer. You always got to pay attention to these associations. But let's continue.
And again in my Eden prayers at night. With love, Wallace.
It was extraordinary. From the moment I started the first lesson, I realized this was dynamite.
Isn't it remarkable, though, that here she was in what was perceived at the time and since to be this hot and heavy relationship with Edward, the future king, yet at the same time she was still professing affections for and describing herself as kind of entrapped in that relationship to the man from whom she was seeking a divorce.
Well, that's exactly what these letters show, that her emotional connection to Ernest really never died.
In this version of events, Wallis may have been a social climber, insinuating herself into Edward's high-flying, high-society world, but the complication of marriage was never the plan. In fact, she tried to get out of it.
Alright, so as you just heard, she didn't really want to marry this man. And I don't want to prolong this out, but I just want to get to the end here. We got about another 3 minutes in this video to how big of an impact this woman had on world history. And we're going to get to that point. But as you can see, she was emotionally tied to her first husband, but she was with the king out of an assignment. But let's continue with this video.
That's when the inexorability of the situation struck her, because the king...
You say she wanted to call it off.
Yes, she wanted to call it off and he wouldn't let her. He responded by threatening suicide.
The British government at the time, headed by Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin, responded too. It launched what can only be called a smear campaign directed at Simpson, dismissing her offer to call off the marriage as a publicity stunt. In the British Records Office, historian Susan Williams has found the evidence. A telegram from Baldwin to the other British Commonwealth Prime Ministers telling them not to be fooled by Simpson. So he sends off this telegram saying basically what she's saying is a lie.
He's saying that you can't trust Mrs. Simpson, and she is exactly what it has been assumed that she is, which is a gold digger, ambitious, and just wants to be queen.
In fact, the government may have been afraid that public opinion was swinging in favor of the marriage, and the British political establishment was deeply suspicious of Edward, that he was emotionally unfit for the job, and that he might actually be sympathetic to the rise of fascism in Europe.
Bingo. That's the whole point right there. They thought he was an unfit leader and susceptible to fascism, which which was the Nazis and Italy at that time. And they thought that he would turn the throne over to Hitler. So this woman was sent in, allegedly, to dethrone this man and move him out of the way, so his brother could replace him. You don't believe me? Keep listening.
The reaction to the Simpson affair, this theory goes, was just an excuse to swap Edward for his more user-friendly brother, who became George VI, now considered to have been a very successful wartime king. One of the currently held views is that, distasteful though she was seen to be at the time, that in fact she, at a very critical time in history, saved Britain from having the wrong king
She saved Britain from having the wrong king. That I didn't say that. He said that. I didn't say that. This supposed simple woman just waltzed in, socially climbed her way to the king, manipulated him so much through her tactics, and was able to get him to abdicate the throne so his brother could step in, which was a more, in their words, they said it, user-friendly king. Continue.
By creating the necessity for him to abdicate, crisis though it was.
I think there's a lot of truth in that view. I go with Noel Coward on that one. He said there should be a statue to Wallis Simpson in every British town.
There should be a statue to Wallis Simpson in every Europe town. So what I'm saying is, if you were back then in real time and you were watching the news, you would just think, oh, this is some kind of romance love affair. But hindsight is 2020, and we can look back and see that her role was very influential to modern history. We're talking about Hitler could have had inroads to Great Britain. And for those that know, we know how that story really ended, but I'm not going to go there tonight. But we can see that the power of a woman infiltrating a kingdom. And that's all I'm laying down. So if that could happen on this scale, why couldn't it happen again? And I continue.
Not only statues never happened, Edward and Wallis themselves were barred from England after their marriage, living a life ostracized and in exile. When Edward wanted to bring Wallis back to England, the Records Office contains a revealing letter from his brother, King George, in his own hand, saying that such a visit would be impossible. But it has been 75 years since the events that shook an empire. Is it time to give Wallis Simpson a break? Is it your intention to rehabilitate her reputation, or just to understand that this was a little more complicated than was thought at the time?
I'm not trying to rehabilitate her reputation at all. I think there's a lot to criticize her for. She was manipulative and she was an adventurous, if you like, but I do think she needs to be understood. You may not like her anymore at the end of it, but she deserves to be understood.
And there we have the sun symbolism with the one eye. All right, let's go back to the comments right quick. So let's see, let's catch up. Yep. All right, so I think we left off there. Jay Favor said MK Ultra. Yeah, MK Ultra is very real. Mind control is very real. The Nazi Germany did a lot of studies on that subject. And then it was continued on by the three-letter organizations of the United States government. Let's see. Carlito Wade said men would do anything for a cat. Yep, Samson was brought down. Yes, all the men in the Bible, most of the men in the Bible were brought down by women. You had David, you had Samson and his foreign wives, you had Adam and Eve, you had Lot and his wife. Well, he wasn't brought down, but he was. It was a dilemma between him and his wife. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of men were brought. I mean, a lot of great men throughout history were brought down by women. All right, Colin said, Colin Capper, redneck, I think that's what it is. He said they rewrite history all the time. So someone like Harry one day who says it ain't that far-fetched, right? And he also said, I don't put anything past his people. OC said chess moves. Colin said facts. All right, so Carly West said Meghan should be using her energy to get our reparations from royal family. Real talk. Carlito Way, I don't mean no harm, but Meghan is not there for the black agenda because she doesn't even see herself as a black woman. At best, mixed race. That's her words, not mine. Right, that's what I'm talking about, Colin. Yeah, the royal family are Germans. Yep, that's true. Meghan Kelly equals Nicole Simpson. I've seen that. I didn't put much into it, but I mean I saw that before. It said this is wild. What's up, Nate? No, Nisi H. How you doing? Hello. Right. All right. So I just want to hear. All right. I want to hear. Am I reaching so far? Let me see if I'm reaching. Y'all respond back to me. Let me see. Press 2 if I'm reaching, because 1 don't usually work out too good. But press 2 if I'm reaching. All right. So he said not yet. HB, what's up, HB? He said not yet. All right. So I just want to lay down a little history of these things happening before. And there's nothing new under the sun. All right. So let me go back to my notes. All right, so we've seen the background on Miss Wallis Simpson, the woman who saved who saved Great Britain by getting rid of the inappropriate king and replacing him. All right, so now Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry are cousins. She's a royal. Did you know that? How many? Who knew that? Let me see who knew that. It says Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are technically 17th cousins. So I'm telling you, these things don't happen by happenstance. Everything they deal with the royal family is organized and strategized. And I believe that she may be more royal than Prince Harry, but we're going to get there in a minute. And this is from Harper Bazaar. It says Prince Harry may not be marrying a commoner. After all, she's not a commoner. It said research finds that Meghan Markle actually has royal blood in her. They don't marry outside the family, folks. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. It says the actress is a direct descendant of England's King Edward III. Let's see. She's King Edward III, and according to the genealogist Gary Boyd Roberts, that technically makes her Harry's 17th cousin. So the way they make y'all believe that she's some black woman that somehow got into a circle with Prince Harry, and he fell in love with her, and it was happily ever after. No, this woman was a royal, man. And it's always, I'm not gonna go there, but yeah, it's amazing how these coincidences happen when you seen with Mr. Barack Obama was cousins with Mr. Dick Cheney. Come on, I mean, how many coincidences do we really have? It says she's a 24th generation descendant. Right here, let me highlight it. She's a 24th generation descendant of King Edward III. Right. They got to keep the bloodlines tight. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, they got to keep the bloodlines tight. So, with that said, Miss Meghan Markle was not plucked off the street. She has royal blood. Also, she's a distant relative to U.S. President George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon, and Calvin Coolidge. Come on, get the heck out of here. Get the heck out of here, man. She's very distant cousin with Her Majesty the Queen and Princess Diana, his mother. Yeah. Why does nobody talk about this? Now, why does nobody talk about this? No, she's just a black woman in Hollywood working, struggling, and she meets the prince and he saves her. Now, the reason why I say she might be more royal or just as much royal as Harry, let's go here. Catch this video right quick.
Meghan Markle is the latest American to marry into the British monarchy. But did you know the 36-year-old already has royalty in her blood?
I think that's everyone's first question is, how is she related to royalty?
Michelle Erkenbrach is a historian for Ancestry.com. Through a lot of research, navigating through old documents, from marriage certificates to obituaries, going back 24 generations, she discovered Meghan is related to Edward III, the former King of England, and the nobleman Roger Mortimer, who actually were political rivals back in the 1300s.
What's interesting is a lot of people think that this is an extraordinary connection, which in a way it is. And the thing that makes it extraordinary is that we were able to find the documents that actually connect her to those lines.
Meghan is also descended from slaves.
Meghan had a fourth great-grandmother named Nancy Bowers, and she was born in Georgia in
They had to throw the slave narrative in there, folks. They had to throw the snake. They got to keep tying her back to the people, you're saying, to the so-called black people. They got to keep tying her back to us. Now she got royal blood on one side, and now, you know what I'm saying, and notice when the music changed. I want y'all to peep game. Watch when the music changed when they start talking about us to like some jungle music. Peep game. The reason why I say this, y'all think I'm nitpicking, but no, everything on television is planned. There's nothing that's done by accident on television. Peep it.
to those lines.
Meghan is also descended from slaves.
Meghan had a fourth great grandmother named Nancy Bowers, and she was born in Georgia in the 1820s. So a really long time ago. She lived 40 years of her life enslaved, and we found a 1900 census record for her where she's still living in Franklin County, Georgia.
A piece of Meghan's past as we anticipate her royal future. I'm Lee Sheps for InsideEdition.com.
Did y'all peep the music change when it start talking about her African American great grandmother to some jungle boogie music? Man, they not playing with us. They are psychologically manipulating us with this situation, and not technically us African Americans, but this is more so for the Black British, and the newly Black British that's coming out of North Africa. And we're going to get to the point of why is she so important, and answer the question, is she the queen of multiculturalism? And we're going to see. All right, let's catch up. Let me go back to the notes, right? I mean, the question. All right, a lot of people say I'm not reaching. I'm glad y'all don't think I'm reaching, because like I said, I'll put a lot of research, you know what I'm saying, a lot of studying into this, so I can bring y'all some stuff that just y'all don't get on television. If you know, that's why I want to bring you guys. Okay, OC said incest jump. Yes, 17 cousins. Gyron, what's up, Gyron the Gray? Peace. You said holy crap. All right, never knew that, but wouldn't be surprised. Right. All right, Niecy H says they are the biggest drug dealers and users. The whore queen smokes too many blunts. Wow. They're all crooks. It says Negroes don't have bloodlines for a reason. I don't know about that. We have to talk about that one. Nova says didn't know that. It's an ancient practice to keep it in the family. Yep, prearranged business contract. That's correct. Yep. Colin said royal hiding in plain sight. Yep. They even did this with Princess Di. They tried to act like she was a commoner. I think even Kate Middleton, she has royal blood, I believe. Right. You know, OC said in a token help and a token cosign helps public opinion. Right. OC said Mo, check it out. Mag Bitter Truth. He's on it too. Okay, I had to check him out. And ECH said the company is a joke. Also, my DNA is in Deuteronomy 28. Right. We know who we are. We are people of the book. Niecy H know. Right. Carlita White. Yeah, you peeped the music too. Right. Right. Gary Stewart, he peeped the music too. Right. That's why I said everything they do is to trigger us subconsciously. And it's the thing I want to point out to you guys. I'm not riding down this woman because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever. Whoever she is. But when people are used for propaganda and to manipulate people's mental, I'm going to be here to point it out. That's what I'm doing here, because I don't want to see us taking, when I say us, black people, to be manipulated in a way because they like to play with our emotions. And that's the whole point of these videos. Right. Okay, Carlito. No, it's not anything strange. The reason why I'm gonna explain that to you, and that's a great segue into where we're going now. Okay, when the royals get married, they want to have children very quickly, so they have another heir to the lineage. You know, that's why Prince Charles and Kate had their baby so fast. And then they also have another baby after that, because what it's called is an heir and a spare. So if anything was ever to happen to the first child, the bloodline would be continued through the second child. Now, it's weird that when it came to Prince Harry, he was the spare, but they let him take very risky risk for him to be the spare. He flew helicopter missions in the Middle Eastern wars for the Great Britain. He was a heavy partier. I remember one picture that had him butt naked, stretched out in Vegas. I mean, he was literally able to do what he wanted to do because he is not truly an heir, in my opinion. And I'm going to point that out now. That's a great segue. Thank you for setting that up for me. All right, here we go. But they killing me right now.
A royal headline. Princess Diana's former flame, James Hewitt, speaking out now about a rumor circulating for decades that he is Prince Harry's biological father. ABC's Lama Hassan is in London with the details. Good morning to you, Lama.
And good morning to you, Larry. Yeah, for years it was the rumor that set tongues wagging. Was James Hewitt Prince Harry's real father? Well, now Hewitt, going on camera and opening up to Australia's Channel 7, emphatically denies those claims. James Hewitt was the dashing army officer who met his princess.
Interesting. Is James Hewitt Prince Harry's real father? Like I said, man, they on some real Jerry Springer type stuff. And when you watch Game of Thrones and when you see the bastards and you see the illegitimate children, this is how they got down. And this is why I am led to believe Prince Harry was able to gallivant about to do these dangerous missions, because if he truly was the spare, he wouldn't be allowed to do these things in fear that something would happen to him. That's why they always had the heir and the spare. But like I said, this is on mainstream news. I'm not going to some kooky conspiracy theory sites. Let's continue with this video.
1986, igniting a 5-year love affair.
This was a serious relationship.
Okay, so Princess Di and this guy James Hewitt has a 5-year love affair. Look at the red hair on this man. Look at the features on this man. And I'm gonna find the picture in a minute. My link broke. I don't know what's going on with my links. They done snatched one video down I was gonna use, and now this other link is broken. So we're gonna keep listening to this video though. But notice the striking resemblance between Prince Harry and James Hewitt, and also notice Prince Harry could be literally a red-headed stepchild. Let's continue.
It wasn't just a fling. A lot of people describing him as the cad, the one who broke all the rules, but actually he probably helped keep Diana sane during that very difficult time.
The relationship so serious, for decades some speculated Hewitt was Harry's dad. A rumor fueled by what some say is their apparent likeness.
Hold on, let's back it up, because they went through that kind of fast. Wait.
Is their apparent likeness. Asked point blank, a rumor...
Look at them two. Look at them two. And I'm going to go find the hair. I'm going to go find the pictures of Prince Charles compared to Harry and James Hewitt compared to Harry. But look at them two.
Fueled by what some say is their apparent likeness. Asked point blank if he was Prince Harry's father, categorically denying the claim.
No, I'm not.
So why did the rumor mill go into overdrive and for so long?
Sells papers.
That's heartbreaking for you, for him.
It's worse for him, probably. Poor chap.
The candid interview taking place 20 years since the princess tragically died in a car crash in Paris. 20 years on, the former army officer admitting he still struggles to open up about the people's princess, saying, "I think she was quite easy to fall in love with, really, so I think I can be forgiven for that." The two calling it quits, ending their secret love affair after it became public, leaving an emotional legacy for her sons.
It shows to them.
Look at that little boy with all that red hair. Man, they need to knock it off. They need to knock it off. Come on.
That they've got to find love and try to make it work, and that's exactly what Prince William has done, and Prince Harry with Meghan Markle.
And it is clear that Diana's boys are doing just that. Following love, Prince William obviously with Kate, and now Prince Harry dating Meghan Markle. The bookies are so sure that an engagement is happening this year, they've stopped taking bets. Lara?
Oh, we're all betting here. Thank you so much, Llama.
All right. Let's go find this picture right quick. Since they're trying to hate on me. Hold on. Bear with me. The guy on the left is who say his dad is. The guy on the right is thought to be his dad. Let me find another image. Here we go. This is the one I had. All right. Let's go look at this picture right quick. Because this is very important. Look at this. Come on now. And like I said, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but this is very important to the story as well. Because if he was truly a royal, he would not be able to marry Meghan Markle. But they're going to use them for propaganda. And I know I'm using that word over and over again, but you have to understand everything. Everything is used to shape the minds of the masses. Let's go back. All right, so how we doing? How we doing? He said was out there thoughting. All right, let's see. Let's go back to the notes. All right, so now we done seen he's not a royal. All right. So there was some question. And this is just a little side note. Why historians aren't really sure Meghan Markle will be the first British royal of color. And like I said, the people that are in the know, we all know that, you know, not we all know, but people that are in the know that, you're saying, the early 1400s back before the Dark Ages, Europe was ruled by people of color. That's well known, and we can see here. This is one of the women, Queen Charlotte. She was a woman, you know what I'm saying, a so-called black woman. I don't like that term, woman of color. I don't like that. And here we go. I just want to point this out right here. When they're talking about some of the queens, it says, for example, I'm reading right here. Start right here. Let me highlight it. Just to show you how they rewrite history once again. It said, for example, Queen Consort Philippia of Hainaut was married to King Edward III in 1328, was once described as brown of skin all over, but the portrait shows otherwise. Right. They whitewashed history. And that's why I just wanted to point that out. Because that's what they, you know what I'm saying, as you can see, history is all about, you know what I'm saying, narrative. It's not about the truth, it's about narrative. And like they say, that the winners write history. So I just wanted to point that out, that she is not the first black woman. So I know you're asking, so where you going with this? Where you going with this? We're going to see in 1 minute where I'm going with this. All right. Check out this video right here.
Yes, it does represent change.
Okay. So in this video, we're going to see the reception of Miss Meghan Markle by the black British. Let's check this video out.
Yes, it does represent change.
The monarchy is outmoded.
I can relate to Meghan being a mixed race girl myself. You can connect more to the royal family because of Meghan, you feel. She brings that element of blackness to the monarchy.
This is Coventry. It's the birthplace of two-tone music and it has a sizable black community. I was born here and I've come back to Coventry to explore how black British people here feel about the royals.
They are representative of the people in this country that enjoyed the 50s when, the first waves of immigration hadn't really been made.
And to figure out whether having a mixed-race princess changes anything for them.
It's nice to see the royal family accepting someone of black heritage in.
You see that? It's nice to see the royal family accepting someone of black heritage into the family. That's the whole point of this. That is the whole point of this. Right now, as of right now, Britain is becoming less and less white. The birth rates are down. You have mass immigration from Northeast Africa and the Middle East, and more due to, and this is all by plan. We're going to get to that in a minute, but that's the goal. They're trying to make all of Europe multicultural by the moving of people. They're trying to make the whole world multicultural by the moving of people and indoctrinating people to marry outside and and procreate outside their race. Now, before I hold on, wait a minute. Before people get all their panties in a bunch, I don't care who you love. You love who you love. You marry who you marry. But all right, like I always say, let's check our emotions and put our thinking caps on here. This is a plan that has been instated since at least the early 1900s. And that's the whole purpose of Miss Meghan Markle. Now we're getting to the purpose of why she was chosen. Because they need to, the black British, understand, the new black British and the old black British and the mixture of the two need to have some kind of connection with the throne. And as you've seen this woman say here, it's nice to see the royal family accepting someone of black heritage into the family. Let's continue.
Family. My own family seems like a good place to start. My grandmother's experiences growing up in a British colony have played a part in how my family members view the monarchy.
Grandma, when you came over to England from Barbados, did you think of yourself as British or Caribbean? What was it?
Yeah, British. That's all we were, British. We were taught at school, everything was British.
Not everyone.
She said she's British. Everything she taught was British. The schools taught her that she was British. That's the whole point of indoctrination. Now let me go back to the comments before I continue with this video, so let me see if I missed anything. Oh, see, man, you must have seen this video before. You spoiling it. Hold on. All right. Let me go back. I'm start right there. Okay, what's up, Junior? BDA. He said the House of Windsor are some thugs and gang. Yes, they are. Yes, they are gangsters and thugs. Colin says I'm black and Meghan didn't connect with me to no monarchy. Right. Peace Coco Post, how you doing? She said a good way to keep black people under the rule and in control. Let Harry marry the black woman. That's exactly correct. Right. They are winning over the weak-minded fools. Yep. Another Obama stunt. And we're going to get the OC, but yes, that's exactly right. Meghan Markle is to Britain what Obama was to America. American blacks. To make us feel part of the system. To bring us back in. Let's see. Call it away. Black people think we got to win because Meghan is in the royal family. Reminds me of... Right. We'll call it... It's on the same wavelength. Yeah, Nisa, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Yep, they want to mold the people into their mentality. Right. Let me see. Alright, so Colin says, I keep it black, Mo. I can't be effing with the white woman while my black sister is the most unprotected people on the planet. Right. That's why, and like I said, you love who you love, you marry who. That's not what this video is about. Let me see. Let me continue on. I think where we at? We at 10:20. All right, let's continue with this video.
One sees the colonial relationship as a good thing. Some people do, some people don't.
Well, they did at the time because it was nothing else. It was nothing else.
So, does Meghan make a difference for you about watching the royal wedding? Would you be watching it if it wasn't Meghan?
Yeah. Yes, we would still watch it. Prince Harry is getting married. He's part of the royal family, and whoever he chose to marry, you know, that's his choice, and we would watch it.
You're so excited you made a cake.
I did, and when I saw that they were having not a traditional cake, but a lemon and elderflower cake, I thought, you know what, I've got to try that.
So my family...
You see how indoctrinated these people are through the schools? Like I said, they were only taught to be British, and these people came over, I think, in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. Not these people, but the people, maybe their parents came over in the 50s, and they were born in Britain. So what they're trying to do is get the new wave of Africans that's leaving out of Northern Africa is coming to Europe to have that same connection with the throne. It's critical. Because you can't have people running around not subjects of the monarchy. But let's continue.
It is just one example of how some Black Britons feel about the royals. But other people I spoke with who grew up in Commonwealth countries shared similar attitudes towards the monarchy.
When you say you're a fan of the royal family, where does that come from for you?
Well, we've always been like that, even with my mum here, you know, we grew up that way, knowing about the royal family back in St. Vincent, where she came from.
So tell us about Heslins. It's quite a big name in Coventry, in the black community anyway.
Yeah, it was one of the first black salons. My mum started in the garage at home, but it was one of those kind of places where everybody met each other, caught up with each other, and, you know, it's one of those kind of community places. Yeah.
What about the royal wedding itself? What have you planned for the salon?
We're going to have cakes and just have a real celebration and actually stream it live for the customers to, you know, take part. And I'm just excited to see her dress and how the hair's going to be. Yeah. I'm sorry she didn't call on me to do her hair, but, you know.
So what about your clients? Do they share the same views as you?
But most of them that I've spoken to, they do.
You're not a fan?
I don't go around carrying flags and celebrating them, but I think it's nice that they're there. I think it makes Britain stand out as Britain.
What about Meghan?
So I don't think her being there specifically is going to change how they run and the procedures and things that they do on a day-to-day basis. Do I think that it changes the face of them and makes people from outside of England look at us differently? Yes, I do. I think it's comparable to when Barack Obama became president. People were like, wow. And I think...
Bingo. Let's rewind that back a little bit and listen to what she said again. She says it changes the face of Britain to the world, and it's similar to what Obama was to America. Let me play that back one more time.
And I think that's going to happen here as well.
I think they're evolving into a family.
But I think it's nice that they're there. I think it makes Britain stand out as Britain.
What about Meghan?
So I don't think her being there specifically is going to change how they run and the procedures and things that they do on a day-to-day basis? Do I think that it changes the face of them and makes people from outside of England look at us differently? Yes, I do. I think it's comparable to when Barack Obama became president. People were like, wow, and I think that's going to happen here as well.
I think they're evolving into a family that the country will probably understand more.
Maybe that's going to make them want to stay around for longer if they keep, I don't know, integrating, making it more relevant to everybody. Diverse.
She said they're going to make people want to stay around more if they keep integrating a diverse Britain. Come on. And like I said, that's the power of propaganda, and I'm going to say that word again. That's the power of it. You can manipulate by gestures. You can manipulate people into thinking a certain way. And that's the whole purpose here.
Britain. Diverse Britain. Yeah.
I wanted to hear from someone who isn't as optimistic about the royals and why. Pauline Black is from The Selector and one of the leading faces of Two Tone, which promoted a black and white unite stance during the 80s.
Well, I'm certainly not a royalist. I think the monarchy is outmoded, outdated, and has a colonial past. Here is a young black woman who's about to marry into the royal family. How she will change it, I don't know. If this wakes Britain up to there is more, if you like, to being black and British, then I think that's a good thing.
At this march in support of the Windrush generation, that very idea of Britishness is still being challenged today.
Yes, it does represent change, and I think it's a good thing in that at least the royal family, they'll experience more of the black culture. Do you know what I'm saying?
I can understand the questioning about the colonialism, and definitely it's strong feelings are felt with that. But for me, I'd say, you know what, just let them live their life.
All right. So there we go. Let's go back to the comments right quick. Let's go here. Oh, see, it says the skin bleaching stock went up after Meghan came on the scene. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Junior BDA says it's a mindset more than a skin color. That's right. It's a mindset. They want you to think globally as globalists. They want you to think as a subject to the royal family. So that's what they're trying to indoctrinate the new people coming there with. Colin said that Coventry is about an hour and a half away from London. They should have came to London and spoke to the black people. Colorway says she woke. I don't know about that one. Cocoa Puff says I predict in 100 years there will be few black people in America that is truly dark skinned. It seems like to go, yes. There will be few if the plan is successful. We're going to get to the plan soon. Like I said, we got about 30 minutes left. But if the plan is successful, there will be few people of any pure race except the selected class. And that's the whole goal. And we're going to get there in a minute. OC said facts, pure propaganda. Okay, Colin, you said she means people who want the royals to stay around. Right, okay, I misinterpreted what you're saying. Right. All right, so let's get into, if you guys can remember back, when Disney first came out with the Princess Tiana. That was a case, I believe, in predictive programming. And let's just look up what predictive programming is. Predictive programming is the recurring elements across many conspiracy theories. I say that with quotes. The claim is that when the conspirators plan a false flag operation, they hide references into it in the popular media before the atrocity takes place. When the event occurs, the public has softened up and therefore passively accepts it rather than offer resistance. Right, and that's why I call Miss Meghan Markle, the Princess Tiana was the predictive programming that preceded Meghan Markle. Because you remember when Princess Tiana first came out, black people were all up in arms about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not up in arms, but so excited about it. All right, and I want to go look at a Root article when she first came out. All right, so when she first came out, was her on the right. She was dark skinned, had dark hair. This is not the original Princess Tiana, but this is in one of the movies. And then the black women noticed that they tried to do a switcheroo on them by coming with this, what appears to be a multiracial woman on the left-hand side. And black women got all up in arms because they felt like they were trying to whitewash Princess Tiana. But the funny thing was, Princess Tiana in the movie, if you guys are not familiar with it, the Princess and the Frog, I believe what it was called. Her mate, the prince, was white. And for almost all of the movie, they were frogs. But this is the black princess that they supposedly gave us. So after that, they noticed that the Change of Color launched a campaign lobbying the 79-year-old studio to try harder when it comes to representing one of their rare black characters. All right, so... And the funny thing was, when they first made the Princess and the Frog, her original name was supposed to be Madeline, which they shortened up to Maddie. But then they had to change it because they said that Maddie was was a common name for a black slave woman. So they had to change it to Tiana. But yeah, I just want to show you this was predictive programming with this movie. And they're always playing with the images that they put before us, because after the outcry of the women saying they lightened her up, it says color change. Remember the outcry over Princess Tiana's makeover? Disney listened. So then Disney went back and they heard the black women complaining, and they actually changed her to how she looked. And they made her with more black features. So these people are paying attention to what is going on in black culture and what black people are saying and black Twitter is saying and these kind of things, Reddit, to see how we receive the things, the images they put before us. And you can see they're always manipulating these images that they put before us. So I just want to show you that. Okay. So what is the plan? What is the plan? Let me see. All right, so we're going to go through the Kalergi plan. All right, so like I said before, let's go here. Let's look at Mr. Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi. Okay? He was born in November 1894, and he passed away July 27th, 1972. And who was he? He was an Austrian, Japanese politician. He was multicultural. And what he's famous for is he's known as the father. He's known as the father of the European Union. So he was all about uniting Europe, you know what I'm saying, with this into one conglomerate and not having the individual European nations. Scroll down here. Okay, now here's what we want to get to. Views on race and religion. This is what we want to get to. All right, so now they said is that they called him an anti-Semite. This is what they said in here. They said Calden Hove Kalergi was an anti-Semite. But as we read further in here, he wasn't really against the Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? He was very respectful and actually exalted them, which I found strange to call him anti-Semitic. All right, so if they say now they say he was anti-Semitic, but he credited the Jewish people with originating religious intolerance, and condemned it as a violation of genuine religious principles. Okay, let's keep going down. Now they said that his father was the anti-Semitic. Excuse me. But then he goes on and down. I'm going to want to show you what the Kalergi plan is. And this is from his book. And you guys can go look it up in his book, Practical Idealism. It was written in 1925. And he said he describes the future of Jews in Europe and of European racial compositions with the following words. So this is what the composition of European race was going to be. In 1925 is when he wrote this. He said the man of the future will be of mixed race. He said today's races and classes will gradually disappear owing to the vanishing of space, time, and prejudice. Okay, so somebody just said that, and I think that was Cocoa Puff saying that there will not, in 100 years, there won't be a pure black dark person. But no. They're trying to get rid of all races. They're trying to bring us all into this, what they call a Eurasian Negroid race of the future. This is what he's saying back in 2025. And we can see what's happening now with the movement of people from Central America into America. We see the movement of Africa and the Middle East into Europe. We see the movement of Asian people, specifically China, out of China into Africa. We see all these people moving, all this mass migration, and these people moving and mixing. This is all plan of the elites. This is all about plan. This was written in 1925. Let's go back. He said, the man of the future will be of mixed race. Today's races and classes will gradually disappear owing to the vanishing of space, time, and prejudice. The Eurasian Negro race of the future, similar in its appearance to the ancient Egyptians, will replace the diversity of people with a diversity of individuals. Excuse me. It says instead of destroying European Jewry, Europe, against its own will, redefined and educated this people into a future leader nation through the artificial selection process. It says no wonder that this people had escaped ghetto prisons, talking about the Jewish people, developed into a spiritual nobility of Europe. Therefore, a gracious providence provided Europe with a new race of nobility by the grace of spirit, and happened at the moment when Europe feudal aristocracy became dilapidated, and thanks to Jewish emancipation. So you see here, and the point that what they left out here, you can see here, they said that because these people will be easier to control. So yes, to answer the question, Miss Meghan Markle is the queen of multiculturalism. She's bringing in the final phase of the clarity plan. She's making it, once the people start to mix up, she represents that. And she represents that, and she also makes the people identify with the ruling elite, which is the royals. Let's go back. All right, so I want to go back. I want to show you something else. All right, let's go to the comments right quick. All right, so Coco Post says, but that won't happen because white people only see color, not heritage. Actually, they're going. That's where you see the whole liberal movement. And really, all this stems from socialism, communism. I mean, this is what this all stems from. So there's a lot of people, young white people, that's going along with this. They feel white shame, white guilt. And they're going along with this, and they want to darken up their skin so they can, their family heritage, so they can get away from the guilt and shame they have from being Caucasian. All right, Farrah De Niro says she don't, but they like put figures that they deem to represent us right. GRB Junior BDA says don't embrace the culture. Yes, we should embrace our own culture. He's also said education itself, knowledge of being, existence allows one to overcome their mental oppression. Right, we have to know our own history. We have to know our own culture. We can't expect them to teach us our own history and our own culture. Right, see, everything is considered anti-Semitic and homophobic. That's right. Anything. And I always go back to, they made Jay-Z apologize and LeBron James apologize for saying Jews are rich. So, I mean, just keep that in mind. These men had actually apologized. All right, so Junior BDA says Europeans understand that they need Africa and Africans to survive on Earth. Right, because they know the Europeans' birth rates are negative. They have a negative birth rate. And let me explain something to you. Okay, let's just take a sidebar here. So you may ask, why? Why would the elite want to bring immigration in? Why would they be pro-immigration? Why are they not pro-white supremacy? Okay, on their level, they will never integrate. They would never intermarry. The elites won't. What they do is they give you these images so they make it socially acceptable for the masses. And like I said, I don't care who you love. You can love who you love. You can marry who you want to marry. But realize when you're being manipulated and indoctrinated into these ideas. I just want you to be aware. And like I said, you make your own choices. Like I said, you love who you love. That's not who I'm here for. Just here to open your eyes to what these plans are by the elites. So now to answer the question, why would the elites want to bring you in? And it's one simple rule. Okay, say if you have a nation and it has a negative birth rate. Okay, say it's 100 million people, and each person, saying 2 people get married. They need at least have 2 kids to keep the status quo. If they're not getting married, if they're not having children, or if they're getting married, having 1 child, you have a negative birth rate. With negative birth rates, you're not creating children that will grow up to be borrowers. This is all based off usury. If you're not familiar with the word usury is nothing but loaning money at interest. This is what this is all about to the elites and the bankers. They need more people to loan money to so they can charge interest to keep this whole shell game going called corporate America or world corporations. That's the whole point of it. And if they can create more susceptible, easy, docile people with identity without any They're going even sexual identity. They're getting rid of racial identity. They're getting rid of cultural identity. That's the whole point. And we're going to get to a later video. Like I said, we got about 15 minutes left. Let's keep going down. Coco Puff says incredible. Feldinero said they try to give us ideologues to give us false hope sometimes. I want to believe all of this. I believe all of us can be a person. For example, Obama, Meghan Markle, Tiger Woods, but the system is too messed up for that. Right. Dang, Mo, this is getting really good. It really makes sense. I'm glad you understand, Gary Stewart. OC called it a queen of swirl. Pretty much. I mean, like I said, I don't use those terms like, I don't like using those terms swirl or whatever, because this is not the point. This is not to attack multiracial people or to say it's such a negative thing. My thing is why? Why are they trying to indoctrinate people or lead people to be multiracial? Right. Junior BDA said right. They want integration for the same reason the Civil War needed. Economics, correct. And it says, okay, Carlita Way says, have you noticed that poor people have babies a lot easier than rich people? Person got right. I've noticed that. Ferdinand said, big facts mode. They do anything to keep you in debt and sick. Right. And if you get sick, then you go in debt because you can't afford the medical, you can't afford the insurance, you can't afford the medications. So then you go into debt, and then when you're in debt, you get sicker because of the stress, and it's just a self-feeding thing here. Good point, Ferro De Niro. All right, so let's see here. I want to show y'all this map. We might have to look at it a couple times because it goes kind of fast. All right, so this map, what we're looking at, it says the mapping of world's immigration flow country by country. Okay, so how to read this map. If the dot is blue, that's where they're going, and the dots are red, that's where they're coming from. So let's just take a look. And this is a 55-second video, so we might have to watch it twice to catch all the information in here. And like I said, all this stuff is on YouTube. I'm going to put all the links in the video in the description, so you guys can go back and do your own research. Now look at these flow of people. The United States. Look at that. Central America, the red dots. Pause. See the red dots? All coming out of Central America. You got them all over the globe. But they're all coming to the United States. Pause. And it's kind of dark. I hate that. But you can see United Kingdom blue. Look at the flow of people. Look at the flow of people out of Africa, Northern Africa, South Africa. And let me go back a little bit because I want y'all to see something here. Hold on. Let me go back a little bit more. If you notice, the people leaving Great Britain are leaving Great Britain and going where? South Africa. And also Australia. These are strong white strongholds. The native-born Europeans are leaving. All right, now look at Australia. They're coming out of Africa. They're coming out of Middle East. They're coming out of Asia down to Australia. And notice these are America, Great Britain, and Australia. There's three strongholds of Caucasian people. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Did everybody catch that? Let's go back to the comments. He says they say the U.S. is a melting pot. Right. That's right. And when things melt, they lose their original identity and they blend into something else. Coco Puff says most logic is the only way it makes sense. Right. All right. So we're closing in. I don't want to hold you guys too much longer, but I got a couple more videos to get to. We're going to cut some of these short. Let's go to this one. No Borders, No Nations. Let's check this out. This is TED Talks. And so with TED Talks, this is where people get up and they give all these they're subject matter experts, and they give speeches on a topic. It's usually anywhere from 10 minutes to, we're not gonna watch this whole video, we're gonna watch a minute or two worth of clips. But they usually give subject matter experts get up and give a 10 to 30 minute monologue on the topic of their choice. And this guy is How to Create a World Without Borders. And this guy's name is J.P. Morgan Jr. Now, if people understand who J.P. Morgan was, he was one of the J.P. Morgan is one of the men. He was one of the men who made America. You need to watch his special on the History Channel. I mean, they don't do it justice, but yeah, he was one of the men who made America. Him, you got Johnny Rockefeller, you got Carnegie, you got what's the other guy? Vanderbilt. He was big steel guy and railroad guy. Yeah, so check that out. I might do a video on that one day about the men who built America, who made America. But J.P. Morgan was one of them, and that's from the bank, J.P. Morgan Chase. That's the same guy. This is named after, and this guy's name is J.P. Morgan Jr. And he's talking about globalism. Come on, peep it out. Right, J.P. Morgan was an OG white supremacist. Right. Let's check this video out though.
So, I'm going to talk today about how you can create a world, society without borders. Before I do that, let me specify what I mean by borders, because we've been talking about lots of different borders today. When I mean borders, I don't actually mean the little geographic lines on a map or geographic delineations. I mean the borders that stop human beings from moving around the world. Which is something I know a lot about because, as Mike said, I've been traveling for years. I spent years on the road living out of a backpack. And I don't really like those kind of borders that much. I do like the kind of borders that delineate nations because, frankly, that question we asked at the beginning, where are you guys from? I love that question. It's my favorite question. And I just kind of think if we didn't have those and we asked that question and we said, where are you from? And I was like, Earth. Cool. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Earth. Oh, it's cool. Where are you guys from? Yeah. It's just not as exciting. But I don't like the idea of being restricted in movement. So let me start. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about why I think the ability to move around the world, travel, is how you can create a world without borders. I love to travel. I love adventure. And the reason I love it is because I get to go from the known into the unknown. And when I'm there in the unknown, I'm learning about that, but I'm also learning about myself, right? It's about growing. And yeah, it's just not.
All right, so as you can see, this guy is against borders. All right, so let's go to the second part of this of the video.
Well, who was about 14, and she had been really staring at me the whole day with those big brown eyes. It was like hypnotic. And then she said something in Arabic, and everybody went, "Whoa, it's quiet." And I was like, "Whoa, what happened? What'd she say?" And my girlfriend was like, "No, nothing." She's like, "That was bad." And I was like, "Okay, well, what did she say?" And she said, "Well, if he's so nice, how can he be an American?" And people always laugh when I tell that story, and it's funny now. But when I was there in that moment, I was
right. So you peeped that? A 14-year-old girl in Egypt, where he was traveling at, asked, "How can he be so nice if he's American?" So that lets you know. And then when you say American, that doesn't mean us. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian, European, however you want to label them. Men in particular, but those people as a whole. Because when they see them in their countries, they're usually there to destroy and destabilize. That's the word they like to use, destabilize. And in another good book you may want to read, and it's on YouTube as an audio book, is the Diaries of an Economic Hitman, and it explains how they send these quasi government officials in to befriend leaders in foreign countries, and when they do that, they get these people into debt, or they find their secrets, and then they leverage that against them to gain control over their nations. So now you can see why this woman, this 14-year-old girl, was leery of this man and asking why was he so nice. Now listen to what he says.
American traveling in an Arabic country, and George Bush was in office sending bombs into countries where people who talked like she did and washed their hands like she did and dressed like she did and ate the foods like she did were getting killed. And come to find out later, the reason she thought that at 14 was because her teacher told her that Americans were bad people.
Now he said, hold on. Now he said that the reason why she thought Americans were bad is because her teacher taught her that. Not the fact that she's seen all the bombs that he just said, the bombs and the destruction that comes along with the American empire when it infiltrates. But he said because her teacher taught her this, that he thought there was a bad. And I just want to point that out to you guys, that these people in these other countries are leery of when Americans or English or whatever, however you want to put it, these elites start infiltrating their country, because they know what comes next: destruction, sanctions, starvation, and all these other things. So I just wanted to point that out. Of this is how they're pushing a world without borders. They want to get rid of borders, like you said. So this guy said himself, so you can have increased movement. You have increased movement. You have mass migration. You have mass migration. Then you put in we all have seen it. We've seen all the commercials now that push interracial dating. Damn near you see more interracial couples than you do you see racially alike to a pair. So I just want to point that out. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing it on all levels. All right. So now we get to this last question, last couple videos. First of all, I want to see what the one drop rule is. So because this is how we use the one drop rule to include everybody into being so-called black. You know, if you have one drop of black blood in you, know, and this used to be an insult to black people, and this used to not be accepted, but somehow we went to this weird transformation where we embraced the one drop rule, the way you could be 1/8 or 1/16 black and you're still identified as black. And I think that's very lack of words, very dangerous. But let's look at the history of the one drop rule, just so we can bring this thing on home.
One of the distinguishing features of American racial politics is that if you, in many respects, if you are of apparent African ancestry at all, you're black. Doesn't matter. I mean, you know, Plessy versus Ferguson. The plaintiff in that case was a quote black person who was 7/8 white. Didn't matter. That eighth of blackness made you black. A lot of black people have come to like the one drop rule because functionally it is helpful in many respects. If you think about some of the most important leaders in African American history, W.E.B. Du Bois. I mean, in other regimes.
Wait a minute. So this dude done said a lot here. So he said basically, if you're 1/8, like Plessy was in Plessy versus Ferguson, then you're black. And it, like I said before, this wasn't accepted. But along the way we did this pivot to accepting them. And let's go back to the comments right quick, because I saw some interesting pop up. All right, so Ferdinand said Libya, Afghanistan, etc., and the list goes on with the destabilization of other society. Right, and that's the whole point. Like I said, of the war in the Middle East. The Middle East is one of the last strongholds where they want to hold on to their culture, which is closely tied to their religion, and that's why it's so hard to infiltrate and destabilize them. But they're working on them, so they have to use what they call kinetic wars or hot wars, because they can't just come in and infiltrate, because it's so hard to infiltrate their culture. And that's what the strength of, and this is why I always come back to, I want to tie in some of the things I always say. This is what I always say. To be successful as a group of people, you have to have a strong culture. That way you don't have leaders. It's like a flock of birds or a school of fish. You know what I'm saying? One can't lead you astray. And that's what, the people in the Middle East have, because it's based off their religion, not a race. It's based off a culture / their religion. So I just wanted to say that. Junior BDA said this is why they invade and destabilize other nations, to enforce mass migration, to build up their dwindling economy. Also, that's true, and also to gain rights to the natural resources in that country, because we're not going to be anywhere they're not natural resources. Let's be clear. When I say we, I'm talking about the American Empire, or American Inc. Alright, so Color the Way says J. Edgar Hoover had one drop. Yes. J. Edgar Hoover had one drop of black blood and he destroyed black people. That is so true. And that's always funny when people want to bring up, and that's another video for another day. But when we start looking at him, I think Essence Magazine did that story on him, of how he had black lineage, or partial black lineage. Feldenero said one drop rule counted for Obama. I admit, yep. And like this guy said here, brings up W.E.B. Du Bois, which we all know going back. W.E.B. Du Bois was control opposition. He even said it himself later on. And you're saying they used him to take down Marcus Garvey, which Marcus Garvey wanted actual tangibles. He wanted He was actually influencing black people to leave America, and that was bad for business, because they need us here. Like I said, if we all were to line up and try to get on boats, they would stop us at the shore. It wouldn't happen. They wouldn't allow us to leave, because they know who we are, and they understand what comes with it. But we'll get into that into a later video. Yes, I understand HB2N, Negroes and Africans are not the same. Yes, I'm aware. Let's continue.
Means in other nations, he might not be viewed as black. Frederick Douglass's father was white, the great Frederick Douglass. But, one drop rule, black.
All right, so that's just a little black background on the one drop rule. All right, so let's go back to the original question. Is Meghan Markle's baby black? Because that's come full circle to why we're having this conversation now. Because they're trying to push little Archie on us as a heir, as a black heir. Now that will make him what, 1/4? Let's just say Meghan Markle's mom is fully black. That would make Archie 1/4 black, 25% black, and then 75% Caucasian. But due to the one drop rule, he would be considered black. But let's look at this.
Meghan's pregnancy is considered high risk because she's 37 years old. There's also concern about her busy travel schedule. Meghan and Harry took a flight from London to Australia via Singapore. They were in the air a total of 22 hours. OBGYN doctor Sherry Ross.
The main things for long air travel is to wear comfortable clothing, stay well hydrated with a lot of water, and wear compression stockings to help prevent any risk for blood clots.
Another concern, Meghan's trip will include Fiji and Tonga, where the Zika virus has been detected. The CDC recommends pregnant women should not travel to areas with risk of Zika.
Regardless of who you are, we definitely recommend no destinations that have any Zika virus, because it's dangerous.
Some are wondering whether Meghan's announcement upstaged Princess Eugenie's wedding. It was at that wedding that Meghan informed the Queen and members of the royal family about her pregnancy.
Now, see that? We're going to go back to that P word again. I know I've used it a lot. But even at this other royal's wedding, she announced her pregnancy. she never misses. Like I said, her degree is in mass communication, theater, and I think it was international studies. I believe international policy or international studies. So she understands. Like, this is not some actress out of Hollywood. Just no. This woman is well trained, and yeah, he was black. But yeah, this woman was well trained in communication and media tactics. Because, like I said, she announced her pregnancy at this other woman's wedding. Now, peep this.
Minutes after the pregnancy announcement, Eugenie's mother, Sarah Ferguson, tweeted a flurry of congratulatory messages to her daughter. So proud of Eugenie and Jack, but she made no mention of Meghan's big news.
Do you think Meghan Markle upstaged Princess Eugenie's wedding by announcing her pregnancy?
And could this be how Harry and Meghan's baby might look?
Wait a minute. This remind me of the blanket in Paris and Michael Jackson kids. Come on, man. So you mean to tell me, fast forward years from now, 30, 20, 40 years from now, this is what black is going to look like? This is the plan, folks. What do you call a Euro-Asian Negroid race. Yeah, they trying to say one of these two. This is before they knew the sex of it, but this is what they said the child would look like.
These mock-ups by a forensic artist, a baby girl would have brown eyes and black hair. If it's a boy, blue eyes and brown hair. Either way, awfully cute.
Knock it off. So this is where we're headed. So, I just want to check out one more thing. It says the race of the future. Yep, she did. It says the race of the future is a theoretical composite race which will result from ongoing racial admixture. It's this good again. Richard von Coudenhoven, Kalergi in 1925, and the practical idealism predicted. And we read this before. The man of the future will be a mixed race. Yeah, the Euro-Asian Negroid race. So they're gonna mix them all together. We've seen that map before. Let's see. And then it says on Madison Grant in his 1916, The Passing of the Great Race, calling for a eugenics program to prevent this development. In a similar ideological context, let's keep going. So yeah. So like I said, their plan is the race of the future. And if you look up, let me just do a quick search right quick. There's two things. If y'all bear with me, I'm really irked that I can't find that video. But hold on. I want to type in, I'm going to do something on the fly right quick. This is what America's going to look like in 2050. This is what they're, yeah. Just to go to show you. National Geographic, they're the one that did the what's the name? They're the one that did the story on this. I don't want to go there. But yes, this is what the face of the American is going to look like in 2050. For the average American, for the elite that will still marry within their ranks based on their religion or based on their culture. So they won't be mixing. The top 1% will not be mixing. This is all for the useless sheeple. Not my words. This is how they look at us. They said mix them up. They won't have no culture. They won't have no racial identity. They won't have any cultural identity. They won't even have any sexual identity because they're trying to introduce gender fluidity. What they got, like 58 genders now? This is where we're headed, folks. And that's why I said, and to conclude, to answer my question, yes, Miss Meghan Markle, in my opinion, is the queen of multiculturalism. Because she's being used as a prop by the elite, royals, however you want to call them, to paint a certain image. And to make the mass immigrations going on in Europe acceptable, and making them subjects under the royal family. So that's where I'm coming from. So let me go back and read any questions. Then we're gonna get out of here. Okay, I read that one. Junior BDA says, y'all want them Europeans to pay attention, then stop spending your dollars with them. That means all of them. They right. And that's what the whole civil rights movement was about. When we started being self-sufficient, self-reliant, when we said if we can't ride anywhere on the bus, we won't ride the bus at all. That's when we got their attention. As long as you're asking them for something, marching for something, then they know that we're dependent upon them. But when we start creating our own, then that's when we get their attention. And that's when we get infiltrated, and that's when we get their full attention. That's not necessarily a good thing. Carlita Way says she has a Eurocentric mindset, white supremacist, and light face. Yes. And there's another video I had of her going back. I mean, traced her family back down to Georgia, her black family, which she didn't know until right before the wedding, and they didn't know she came from there until right before the wedding. But there's no use to get into that. You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Coco Puff says Obama was colored in Africa, his home country. Black Americans were the only ones yelling first black president. Right. And the weird thing about that was his so-called slave lineage came from his white family side, not the black family side. Allegedly. But they got Obama. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother day, because that rabbit hole goes so deep, man. Count Dooku, he said J. Edgar Hoover was black. LOL question mark. Yes. There's an Essence article. Go look it up. Cocoa Puffs. She said count it was found to be a fact. Yep. She just said the same thing I said. Yep. Okay, Junior BDA says the Queen of England did bow to the Emperor Haile Selassie, an African. Remember that? Yep. And there's something with I'm still doing research on that with the Ethiopians and the Queen of Sheba and the Ark of the Covenant. They said it's where it's held at now. BDA, I'm not touching that one. All right. Fair and Narrow, it's a South Park episode talking about the future mixed races. They don't speak English right. All right. Okay. Useless. It says Google South Park mixed race. Thank you, Gary Stewart. He said great show. I appreciate it. I'm glad y'all appreciated the information I came to share. It's one video I wish I could. If y'all got 5 minutes, I want to find this video. Man, okay. Hold on. Count Dooku says, "Can I stay and challenge you on these cuckoo topics? No block." Of course you can stay. I don't block anybody. What do you want to come with? All right. It says I'm not gonna say I brought all facts from credible news sources, quote unquote credible news sources, mainstream news sources. I didn't go to any kooky. I didn't go into any kooky conspiracy series website. So you know what I'm saying. Coco Puff said we had our own before MLK came and said holding hands was better. Right. And he even said that he even led us in the burning house. But then you really got to go with the communist connections of the civil rights movement. And like I said, I might touch on that in another video. Because yes, the civil rights movement was ran by a communist hand. There's a lot of question marks. Coco Puff said it was a great and informative show. Please expand on this in a later show. I will keep my eyes on this. Twisted Hickory Juice said, appreciate it, Mo. 100. Good show. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, he said the pair. I'm gonna have to look that up. Hey, Junior BDA, once you post this video, post that in the comment. I want to look that up. Or hit me on Twitter. Y'all, like I said, y'all subscribe to me on Twitter or Instagram, Moe Factz. MoeFactz. Y'all, I'm saying, because that way, if anything happens to this channel, we could pick up right where we left off at. He says, bless up, Mo. When you're on next, I'm trying to get one in on Friday. Work's been crazy, but like I said, I'm gonna try to get one on Friday. But if not, I will try to get one every week. Yes. Okay, Arturo Shoddy. Hey, peace, bro. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Shell Patron. I haven't put out any wrenches yet. For the most part, I haven't got to the point where we're being trolled yet. I'll start handing out wrenches as needed, but I haven't been trolled yet by anybody. If people want to come and they want to contest what I'm saying, that's fine. But look, let me try to find this. Hold on. Let me try to find this video. One sec, y'all bear with me 1 second, man, because it's irking me to my soul that they took that video down that quick. I mean, I just checked it right before we got on. That is crazy. No, JS, I'm not MGTOW. You say I get off. You get off 8 p.m. Pacific time. I usually go on Mondays 9 p.m. If y'all think a better time would be better, y'all let me know, and I'll consider changing it. You know what I'm saying? But I usually try to go on 9 p.m. on Mondays Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, I mean they can control. That's fine, right? They control. I mean, like I said, you can't troll the truth, bro. You can't troll the truth. Let me find it. Hold on. Baitney. Why do you pronounce it? What was it? Tonight Show. Dude, I gotta find it. It's gonna hurt me. I mean, like I said, if y'all gotta go, y'all gotta go. But I'm gonna try to get this video at the end, if nothing else, because this is crazy. I got another video coming for y'all too while I'm looking for this, called the Soros Sisters. It's about how George Soros is infiltrating the DA systems across America and putting in, propping up black women, black liberal women. That's gonna be another one of my videos. It's gonna be very interesting. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. Am I spelling his name right? Hold on. I am truly irked by this. Alright, so like I said, I'm about to sign off from here. If I can find that video, I'll post it in the comments so you can see it. But like I said, it was said in jest, but it's funny that he said that she was a CIA spy. I found that very interesting. Like I said, I'm glad everybody could, right, the little black woman is not a friend to the black man, right? Like I said, I'm glad everybody could join me tonight. And remember, if you pay attention to everything, the truth will reveal itself. Y'all have a good night. Be blessed.